Maybe. See if my computer cooperates better today than Thursday, right, guys? All right, guys, so we're not going to take a very big leap today by any stretch. So if you're thinking, oh, Miss Golly, we have something more to do. No, we don't have anything more to do. We just have to. I'm going to take a little flip back on mine to page 10, which for some reason I'm thinking is supposed to be page 11 in life. Okay, so we take a look back at our steps. It says step 1, simplify each side of the equation if needed. We looked last week at combining like terms before we had to solve. Now we're going to do our final thing, and we're going to need to distribute first. Then step 2, we're going to move all of our variables to one side. We looked at that a few classes last week, and we saw that we have a couple different options for doing that, and either option works. And then we solve the equation we have left, and of course we check our solution. So, if we look at number 13, how do I know I have to distribute? What tells me that?
Oh, the parentheses. Oh, that's
Yeah, the parentheses tell me that I need to distribute first. So on that left-hand side, we're going to distribute our 4 first. I like to draw the little arrows. I know some of you do too. I've seen it on your papers. 4 times k gives me that 4k. And then I have to take 4 times -2. So we have a -8. We have a -8. So take a look on your paper for number 13. You should have written down at this point 4k and a -8. So we should have a 4k and a -8 at this point. So that takes care of our left side. 4k -8. So that takes care of our left side. Then we still have our equal signs, splitting those up. And now we're going to do the same thing over on the right. We're going to go ahead and distribute. 2 times k. And then we have 2 times, it really is a -9. So we've got a -18. So take a look at your number 13 and look at mine. We should all have that same first step there. We should all have that same first step there for number 13. Now we have to check to see, are there any like terms that I can combine? So is there anything that I can put together that's the same on the left side? I have a 4k -8. The 4 has a k with it. The 8 doesn't have a k with it. They're not like terms. I can't put them together. I look on the right side. I have a 2k -18. The 2 has a k with it. The 18 does not. They're not like terms. I can't put them together. So now we have to move on to step 2. Step 2 says we have to get the variables all on the same side. So you have your choice. You have your choice. We could move the 4k from the left to the right, or you can move the 2k from the right to the left. We talked about this last week. I know a lot of you like to keep your variable on the left. So I'm going to leave the 4k sit there, and I'm going to move the 2k. Right now the 2k is positive. So to move the 2k from the right to the left, to undo that positive, we need a -2k. And notice, guys, we keep talking about making sure we're lining things up. Notice where I'm putting those 2k's. I'm putting it right under what I can actually combine it with. So 4k, the -2k goes right under it. Positive 2k, -2k. Again, they're lined up. Anything with the k, we have them lined up. So we know exactly what we need to add or subtract together. So 4 minus 2, we're going to be left with a 2k. Don't forget the minus sign in front of our 8. Our equals is still lining up. Positive 2k minus 2k, there's our 0. And then we talked a lot last week about making sure we watch our signs. It's really a negative 18 we have over on that right side.
Yep, that's fine.
Now from there, all we have left is a two-step. We have to undo our subtraction before we undo our multiplication. So we're going to add our 8 to both sides. Add our 8. And notice again, when I add the 8, I put it right underneath the minus 8 that I'm trying to undo. Keep things lined up. It makes things a lot easier when we have multiple steps to do. So we have 2k minus 8 plus 8 gives me a 0. Negative 18 plus 8. If you need to pop that in your calculator, guys, please do that. We get a negative 10. Remember, we have to watch our signs. We have to watch our signs. That doesn't equal 26. It's negative 18 plus 8. And then to finish off, we divide. And our k equals negative 5. We can still check these. I know sometimes when we get so many steps to solve that we feel like, oh, I've spent enough time on that question, I want to move on. But remember, that's the cool part. When you guys take your test in here, you can check every problem and make sure you've got it right before you even hand in your test. How cool is that? How many classes can you do that in? You can know if your test is right before you even turn it in. That's pretty awesome. So I'm going to go over in that empty space off to the left. Any place I see a k, I'm going to replace it with negative 5. Any place I see a k, I'm going to replace with negative 5. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull my calculator up. So a quick little check. The calculator does most of the work for you. And now I know, hey, 13 looks good. I'm going to move on to 14. So moving on to 14, I want you to take a minute. Try out question 14. Let's see what we can do with number 14.
You got this. Let's go.
All right, guys, let's take a look at number 14. Let's make sure we've got it. I know Mr. Andrews and I have been around to help a few of you out, but let's make sure we've got it. Some of us are just getting stuck, and we talked last week, those darn negative signs are getting some of us. For a couple of us, we're forgetting that when we distribute, we also have to multiply that second number inside the parentheses too. So we're going to have a plus 18. And then on the other side, we have a 20 minus, we have a 5n. So just double check your distributing. I think we got around to most of you to double check your distributing. And then now the next step though, some of you chose to move the negative 6n, some of you chose to move the negative 5n. I think what I saw when I came around is most of you chose to move the 6n, that negative 6n. So I'm going to go that route. We will get the same answer, so don't start erasing. Don't start erasing because you chose to move the 5n. We should get the same answer. All right, so to undo that negative 6, we're going to add that 6n. And again, guys, notice where I'm lining things up. Negative 6n, positive 6n, they're lined up so I can see I get 0. 18 over on the left. My equal sign just keeps coming right down. There's a 20 over on the right. And then it's really a negative 5 plus 6. If you need to write the 1 in front of the n, you can. But remember, mathematicians, guys, we're kind of lazy. We don't write that 1. It's not wrong if you do. And now to finish this off, I want to leave the n there. I need to move the 20. So we're going to move the 20, subtract it from both sides. Negative 2 equals, if you want to put the 1n there, you can. You don't have to. N is really by itself. We want to get that 1n. We don't need to do any division for this one. We're good. We're done. We're finished with that one. So the only really new piece, and this is our last type. It's our last 2 questions of our packet. We just had to distribute first. And then we roll from there. Yeah, Sam?
I just got one little question.
Sure.
At the very front, that you.
I just want to start 15 with you guys, and then I want to turn you guys loose to see what you can do. The one thing that I saw again when I was walking around with 14 is when we distribute, we have to distribute to everything that's inside those parentheses. So number 15, when I distribute the negative 8, I not only multiply it times p, but I also multiply it times the negative 2. So we have to make sure that we're multiplying everything, not just that first number or first variable. Now this one, this is as tough as we're going to go, guys. This is as many steps as we are possibly going to need. This one adds in just one extra little element. We're going to distribute, so go ahead and make sure your first step is matching mine. Again, on that right side, the 4 gets multiplied times the p. It also gets multiplied times the 3. I like drawing the little arrows. That makes it super visual for me to know that, hey, that 4 and that 3, something has to happen with those two. Now, before I can decide, okay, I want to move this p to the right or to the left, this one is going to have all of our steps involved. We distributed, but now we also have to combine our like terms. On the left side, I have a negative 8p and just a plus p. If you need to, we've talked a lot about when there's just that plain variable there. If you need to put a 1 in front of that, guys, go ahead. If that helps you combine like terms to put that 1 there, please do so. Please, please, please. We've done that quite a bit. So negative 8, and we have a positive 1. We're going to get negative 7p. We still have a minus 16. So we distributed. Now we're combining our like terms before we move anything from the left side to the right or the right to the left. Simplify your sides as much as you can. Otherwise, you're going to start getting lost if you have too many p's or too many just plain old numbers. Now over on the right side, I have a 4p and I don't have any other p's. But I do have a plain 12 and a plain 5. I can put those plain ones together and I can get a 17. Now from there, and I saw it when we looked at number 14, from there we have 2 different options. I know I have some of you are like, yeah, Miss Golly, move that negative 7p. That's what I would do. And others of you are like, no, Miss Golly, move the 4p. That's what I would do. Either way works. Either way works. I'm going to go ahead this time. I'm going to move that negative 7p. I'm going to move that from the left over to the right. So I'm going to add 7p to both sides. Negative 7, positive 7, they're done. Negative 16, be careful, it's a negative. We get 11p plus 17. From there, it's just our nice 2-step equation to solve. Let's undo our addition first. And then let's go ahead and undo our, there we go. I'm running out of space. You guys probably are too. Let's see what you guys can do for number 16, and then we'll take a little break today before we come back in and do our scavenger hunt. What I have put up, guys, I have the first step. So if you want to check your first step before you keep rocking and rolling in case I didn't get to you. And I can see I have a 10 and a 4 I can combine. The negative 6v is just going to stay. 10 plus 4 gives me 14. And then I look on the right side, I have a negative 12 and a minus 8v. I cannot combine those, they're not like terms. Now I have my choice to either move the negative 6v or the negative 8v. This time I'm going to choose to move the negative 8v. To undo the negative, we're going to add 8v to both sides. On the left side, I get 2v. I still have a plus 14. On the right side, don't forget that that's a negative 12. Now I just have 2 steps left. Let's undo our addition by subtracting the 14. We have a 2v equals negative 26. Make sure you've got both negative signs there. Divide by 2, our v equals negative 13. So go ahead, double check your steps with mine. And then go ahead and move on to, I do have the multi-step kind of an equations maze for you. We put up cards around the room and did them question by question. I have just set up for you, there are 10 problems on a sheet. Just go from one to the other, just work the 10 problems on the sheet. I am also going to post the answer key for that for you. You should be able to check your own, but I will post the answer key also for you so you can make sure you've got it. We will also finish up that sheet tomorrow. So if you don't get all finished today, that's okay. We're going to finish the sheet up tomorrow and quiz.